Sometimes we look at people's situation and we say stuff like, well, my situation ain't bad as hers. I ain't got nobody beating me down. I ain't got nobody cheating on me. I ain't got nobody stealing my car, doing this, doing that. It don't matter. Bad is bad. Bad is bad, baby. Anything you want to do in life, all you got to do is start. Press play. Hey, welcome to the first episode of Every Play Possible, the new podcast. I am so glad that you guys have decided to tune in, to tap into what I got to say. Listen, you guys, I'm 48 years old, 48 years young. Let me switch that up. I'm 48 years young, and I have been through a lot in my life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I call it running the play because regardless of the situation that hits me in life, I got a play that I'm going to run for it. I'm going to make it do what it do. Like, I can tell you about the plays that I have ran. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. It's going to be story time with Tan. I want to start by just giving you a story. I'm going to give you a story, take you on a little ride with me, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to give you some bullet points. So let's talk about how God shows up unexpectedly in our lives and we pay him a very little attention. I mean, in everything. That little voice telling you the right thing to do, that's God. Trust me, that's God. Everything to include selling drugs, trafficking drugs, using drugs, writing bad checks, drinking liquor, leaving or quitting a job, having a baby, illegal activities. I mean, the way you do a thing really matters. And when I say leaving a job, you might say, it's okay to leave a job. It is okay to leave a job, but how you leave a job is the thing. God will tell you, give them the 2-week notice. Let them know versus just quitting the job because you may have to cross that bridge again. So I say God shows up in everything that we do. We just have to know that that's God showing up. But the crazy thing is we have the audacity to say, God, if you bring me through this, I promise you I'm gonna do this. I promise you I'm gonna do that. Yeah, we bargain with God. We bargain with God. I'm telling you, I know this because I have done it a time or two. Yes, I have drunk liquor, felt bad, had the worst hangover in the world, then turn around and be like, God, if you bring me through this, I promise you I ain't never going to do this again. The next party, I'm right there, right back at it. But listen, let me tell you how I disobeyed God beautifully. I was so beautiful doing it. I disobeyed God beautifully. The one thing I never told a soul. So let me read this. Follow along. I was begging God to cleanse my heart of hatred and bitterness. When God said to me, this is how I heard it now. You can only blame you for this because warning comes before destruction and you were warned. How many times we heard our parents say, warning comes before destruction, and it do? Let me remind you, my child, you took that last glass in the mirror on September 24th, 2016, before going to a surprise event for yourself that you knew nothing about. But as you looked into the mirror, the idea of marriage came to your mind, and the question that followed was, if he asked you to marry him, what will your answer be? Mind you, I didn't have a clue of why I had that thought. God said, you said, hell no, because you knew he wasn't ready. You knew he wasn't your soulmate. You thought he would never ask you the question. You were pushed for time. God said, I showed up for you that day on 2 occasions, and you went on your own way. I remember this day so clear. I disobeyed God. Y'all, I disobeyed God. I planned that wedding and spent every quarter that I had without consulting God. I had over $50K in my savings that I depleted in less than a year. I trusted the God in my bestie. I heard her voice along with God, but I wanted what she said and not what God was showing me. I wanted what she said because I wanted what I wanted. Nothing changed during the planning process. I love that man because he chose me even when I didn't choose myself. Who was I? A damn fool. Who was I? A damn fool. Father God, help us all. Help us to have a clear mind and get the devil out of our ears. Sometimes we look at situations and we start to compare the better and the worse. The fact that my situation was better than my friend's situation didn't make mine better. Believe me, it's so much more to this story. God shows up for us in every situation, whether we include him or not. We got to tap in and be led even if it's not the choice that we want to hear. When I say God made a believer out of me, God made a believer out of me. It's consequences to every action, whether it's a reward or it's a punishment. We got to learn to take heed and not the lead. I got 3 points that I want to ponder on. One being, I didn't have a clue of why I had that thought. How many times we have a thought that just pops up in our head and we be like, why? Now, why I thought that? That was so stupid. We laugh at it or we think about it or we might say it was a dream or it was a... When I look in that mirror, just to make sure that my makeup was what it needed to be, when I looked in that mirror and that question came to mind, that was warning before destruction. I did not think that this man was my soulmate. I'm sure if anybody asked me, I told them that I thought I was marrying my best friend. And I didn't want that to change because the friendship was so strong. I didn't think that the man was ready because it was so many things going on in the relationship that I knew wasn't about to change. But the truth of the matter is, every time I got ready to go to a funeral, I'm talking about every time, what the pastor would say would convict me so bad. Like, you got the appliance stand, you got the stove, you got the refrigeration, you got the deep freezer, the washing machine and the dryer, but it ain't connected. It ain't connected. So what's the good in having all the appliances when none of it is connected? It ain't gonna never do you no good without the power. So I would always just compare that to my life, thinking that, okay, I got this, almost thinking I'm a little perfect Patty, but I'm still having sex and I ain't married. So I wanted to be married because I figured being married would change that whole thing with me having sex and sinning, and that would just do it all for me. Because mind you, in my mind, I thought I was perfect Patty. And the truth of the matter is, I really thought the nigga would have never asked. But when he did what he did, God showed up and said, here you go again. It's another opportunity. When you know what it is, I'm showing up for you. Are you going to stand up for yourself? How many times does God give us a second chance to do the right thing and we still don't do it? Plenty. He showed up for me on 2 occasions that day and I still didn't take heed. Point number 2, I depleted every quarter in my savings account. I ran that nightclub, and when I decided I was going to make my exit strategy, I had about $50K or so in my savings. I spent everything. I spent all I had. And to make matters worse, they really hurt my feelings when they said I was the gold digger. When they said I took this man and I wanted him because he had money, but I didn't go to God. I didn't consult God. God, is this the right thing to do? God, my footstep. I didn't go to God at all because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for what God was showing me. It wasn't about the answer because even without me asking him, he kept showing me. He kept showing me over and over again. And when I said we got to be mindful with these people in our ears, it ain't so much about the people. It ain't about who they are. It's just about listening to people to say, I would never do this. Or if I was you, I would do that. You can't listen at people. You listen at people because those are the ones that's closest to you. And that's what we want. We want to hear the people that we can pick up the phone and call. But you better get Jesus on the main line. That's what you better do for yourself, because that's where your answer is really going to lie. When I said at the end, it's consequences, it's repercussion to every choice, whether you like it or not, you're going to feel the flow. You're going to feel the flow, baby. Listen, my point number 3. Sometimes we look at people's situation and we say stuff like, well, my situation ain't bad as hers. I ain't got nobody beating me down. I ain't got nobody cheating on me. I ain't got nobody stealing my car, doing this, doing that. It don't matter. Bad is bad. Bad is bad, baby. A sin is a sin. Whether you lying, whether you stealing, I'm sexing, a sin is a sin. Ain't nothing bigger than the other. We got to stop comparing Cheryl to Pearl. It don't matter. We got to stop comparing this to that. Your situation is just what it is. If you don't feel good about what you're doing, you don't feel good in it, you got to tap in. You got to hear God's voice. He is right there, whether you want him there or not. God constantly shows up for us, whether we call for him or not. I am here to let you know, like when things fell apart, I couldn't blame nobody but me. I got to take ownership. Just like you got to take ownership. My transparency, it is what, I know you saying, well, why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? It wasn't going to work from the start. Because it wasn't no God in it. It wasn't no God in it. I didn't invite God in the beginning. We didn't invite God in along the journey. And wherever you don't take God, it ain't going to be blessed. God showed up for me and I disobeyed him. I got the dress. I got the extra train. I got the veil. I got the diamonds, the pearls. I got everything I could think of to get. I disobeyed God beautifully. That's what I mean when I say beautifully. And I kept that to myself. I knew God was dealing with me, but I ain't told my friend that was telling me what they would do. I ain't told my mama that I run to tell. I ain't even told him because I figured I had some magic and I could work it out. But the reality of it is God showed up for me and I disobeyed him. Listen, today is a 1-year anniversary for me. 1 year ago, I had the guts to make a choice for a brand new start. It was lose you or choose you. I had to choose me. Choose me. I was going to God since I said I do. What do I mean by that? I didn't go to God when I got the proposal. I didn't go to God when I went down to even at the altar, Jesus. When they did the altar prayer, I wasn't really praying. I was ready to get up. My knees was hurting. I was going through the motion because that's the formality of things. And that's what we do. It's normal to do this. So that's what I did because it was normal. I didn't go to God until after I said I do. Ever since I said I do, I've been going to God because I ain't had no choice. I ain't have no choice. That was my last resort when it should have been my first resort. On December 30th of 2021, I said to my spouse, we need a separation because this ain't working. And he replied, fuck it. Let's get a divorce. This was the second time this man had made me this offer. The second time. I said, say less, bro. But listen, how does it feel to choose you and still feel like you have lost? How does it feel to choose you and still feel like you have lost? That's a whole nother episode. Everything that glitters ain't gold. But listen, I'm here to let you know at the end of the day, when God shows up for you, respect him. Go to God, talk to God, be at ease with whatever it is you ask God about, regardless of whether you want to hear it or not. Take it for what it is. Because if you don't take it for what it is, you're going to go through the motion. But whatever the consequences or the repercussion is, it's yours to deal with. And God will be there for you. He'll be there for you. He wants you to need him. He don't want you to need him just in the midst of pain. He also wants you to need him in the midst of gain. But if you don't go to him, if he shows up unexpectedly and you don't let him lead you, it ain't nobody's fault but yours. I know so well. I know so well. So I say all this to say, let God guide you in your life. It'll turn out so much better. When I said I was begging God, I meant just that. I wasn't asking God. It wasn't no asking. It wasn't no formal prayer. It was begging God. Because I know I can't get nowhere in this world hating nobody. But as I began to beg God, God started to tell me about myself. Because I needed to hear about myself. I needed to take accountability. And I'm telling you, it's things that you know, it's things that you have inside that you ain't never told nobody either. That you holding on, acting like I ain't knew that. The one thing I didn't know about was it being a surprise engagement. I swear to God, I ain't know it was no surprise engagement party. I did not know that. They got that over my head. But the bling, the ring, the people, and the whole, all that, it just blurred my judgment. I knew better. And when you know better, you do better. But at the end of the day, the good thing is 5 years later, I've accepted the responsibility for what I didn't do, what I did do. I'm off to a new start. I'm so thankful. I'm choosing me. I'm moving on. I'm going to tell you different things, different opportunities, different ways that help me be able to move on. Because it wasn't easy, but at the end of the day, it happens. I'm a hairstylist. People sit in my chair. I would never tell nobody deep, dark secrets, but what I will do is tell you things, tell you adversity that women face every day. Things that women face, and you sit there and you be like, what? You thought you were the only one going through it? Listen, this is simply going to be a platform to help motivate you, help inspire you. And if you're feeling like you're all alone and you're the only person living in this type of thing, you aren't me. Don't try to be me. Do you? What's good for the goose may not be good for the gander, but it's just going to help let you know places you can go. And the first place is the God. You got to stay in the word. And I ain't saying go to church. I ain't saying shout. I ain't saying do whatever you need to do. All I'm saying is tap in. That's all. I want you guys to subscribe, like, share, and listen. Hopefully I will inspire somebody to run their next play. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hey, drop in the comments what you want the next episode to be about, some things you want to talk about. Listen, I'm excited that you are here, and I look forward to getting some feedback. Share it with a friend. I hope this blesses your soul. Again, the new podcast, Every Play Possible. It's your girl, Tan F, and I am loving you.